Good morning, and thank you for joining us this morning for a special presentation from Skywatch and the team at PLNT.ai. Mohzgan and her team were the winners of the Commercial Viability Prize sponsored by the Conestoga Entrepreneurship Collective last year at Space Apps 2020. And they've been working with the team at the Venture Lab over the last year on their project that came out of Space Apps. So this workshop will give some insights into what it's like to work out of the Venture Lab, the experience that Mohzgan and her team had at the Space Apps Hackathon, and also their experience in the Venture Lab since then. A few housekeeping items. If you have any questions during the presentation, please feel free to use the chat function. Please keep yourself on mute during the presentation, and then if we have time at the end, we will open up the floor for any questions that you have. So without any further delay, I'll pass it off to Mohzgan, and thank you again for joining us.
Thank you, Kelly, for the introduction, and thanks for giving me this opportunity. So for today, I am going through a brief overview of our project that we did last year during the challenge, and then I will answer if there is any question. So last year, what we started working on the project or the challenge in the during the competition was one of the challenges with the name of Planet with People. And the name of the group that we started with was Open Intellidata. And during this last year, we changed it to PLNT.ai. And this is like the logo of our group that we came up with recently. And what we are going to do, or what we did during that challenge, was that we used the ground and the satellite data that after collecting the data both from the ground and the satellite, we started creating an artificial intelligence, which specifically is a neural network, that it uses both of these two data sets and also the other data that I will go through them in the next slide. And after having the neural network, it started collecting the features from these two data sets. And by the features, we mean like the features that are helpful for figuring out that which location needs which vegetations or which plants based on the features of that specific area of the plants. And if I wanted to go through more detailed description of the project, that our project is designed to help the urban forestry department, specifically in Ontario. This is because the data set that we used, and we are trying to help the urban planners to optimize how they wanted to plant the vegetation in specific areas. And this is like based on using the data indicators to create the accurate and weighted scoring structure that will assist in providing the strategic placement system for planting the vegetations. And what do I mean by weighted score structure? It is like we will provide the scores for people who are looking to see which type of vegetations is better. For example, let's say if they have 5 candidates to plant in one specific area, the neural network or the artificial intelligence gives them what are the higher scores and which one is more beneficial for that specific area based on the features that it collected from the data. And so the way that it works is like aggregating the ground and the satellite data, both of them together. And after collecting the data, it goes through the neural network or the artificial intelligence to see which one of them would be more helpful for the user to plant in that area. And by collecting the information from the area or the ground, we just the latitude and longitude information from each specific point of the area. And also the key environmental data sets that we were used are including of air quality, the temperature, and the land cover of each one of the places that we have the data set for them. And after collecting these environmental key specific features, we see that each one of them has the higher aggregated scores based on these air quality, temperature, and land cover. And it will return back the results based on these key features. And that the software is actually helpful for the users to make a better and more accurate environmentally beneficial decisions, that it will lead to greater and positive environmental impact in the future. And what are the significance of this project, and why this would be helpful for people? This is important because significantly placing the good or the proper vegetations based on the environmental values rather than the geographical purposes. It has been potential to help the local climate changes, which can grow to a larger scale and have a beneficial impact on the global climate. And specifically because one of the features that we are considering and extracting from the ground data set is the dioxide carbon amount in each specific area. So if we wanted to reduce the amount of the dioxide carbon, or to raise the other specific gases in that area. So that's the way that we provide more scores on top of those features, like the dioxide carbon. And that's one of the benefits of this system. And the way that it works is as a backup or the background of the software. So it's using the Python, and we started writing the code in Java, but later we switched to using the Python because of more libraries that are compatible with the ground data set that we have. And specifically, I will go through the libraries that we are using in the software. And afterwards, it uses the land cover and the air pollution data that is aligned with the data for the given region to aggregate the allocate points for each one of the selected regions. And by each specific local goal that we wanted to rise let's say what are the most beneficial planets for each one of the specific areas. The goal or the local goals is to assist to improving the climate on that small scale, and eventually can be translated to a larger scale. So it's why we started with the local areas like the city of Kitchener and Waterloo, and then we went through the larger scale like the Toronto and Ontario to use the data more from those specific areas. And this is how we are scaling the software from using the local data sets, and then moving that into the larger data set from a larger scale environment. And using the software to strategically place the new vegetation on a larger scale, such as farmland and forest, can be helpful for the local environments, which can in turn create the interconnected networks of local areas being used to help the climate. And as I said, some of the specific libraries in Python that we used are including the NumPy, TensorFlow, PyTorch, OpenCV, and Selenium. And also we use the JavaScript for providing the backbone of the software, and the Mapbox for using the ground and also the satellite data, both of them together. And afterwards, we use the the GitHub pages to develop our code and to share the code which is available in our website. And also beside the code, the data is also available, the data set that we already used. So if you need to know how it works, maybe you can have a look there. And yep, these are like what we have so far. And we actually, after that, we started developing just the system for the local users, like the forestry department of Kitchener and then the Waterloo. And we show them like what we have as the output of the neural net to provide the best vegetation or the best type of the planet in those areas, to see what are the feedbacks from them. And that was one benefit of being in contact with the Conestoga school, to be in connection with these specific departments. And actually the feedback that we get from them was really helpful to improve the system, to see what are the bugs or which parts we need to aggregate more data set to develop a better neural network. And this is what we have so far, and we are trying to get more data set in not only the Ontario and also the other places to develop the system to provide like a better solution, not only for Canada and also the other places as well. And yep, so please let me know if there is any question. You can just send me the emails. If you have any question, I would be happy to answer. Thank you.
Perfect, thank you. I just had one quick question. Can you talk a little bit about what your experience was when you joined the Venture Lab at the Conestoga Entrepreneurship Collective? So let's rewind a year. You've just won that prize at Space Apps Waterloo 2020. Can you talk a little bit about how you got started and what your experience has been like working in the Venture Lab since then?
Yep. Yeah, sure. So during this year that we were working with the Conestoga lab, we had like the weekly meetings with one of the supervisors in the lab. And the benefit was like getting in touch with the other organizations or other departments that we can use their data set. That was the first initial helpful point for us, because we didn't have that much enough data set. So we were able to use the data, and based on the data, we're able to build the neural net. And after that, we also were able to be in touch with those departments to show them what we have as a result of their neural net, and get the feedback from them to develop and improve the software. So that was very helpful for us. Like the help that we get from the Conestoga people to be in touch with those departments. That was like the initial key point for us.
Thank you. And one more question. Do you have any tips for our participants this year who are interested in being considered for the Commercial Viability Prize? So is there anything that you wish you had known, last year, this weekend, when you were starting out, that would help you be more prepared for commercialization?
Yeah, so last year, maybe we were not that much informed about the prize that we have this opportunity to be in contact with the people that they were the mentor during the competition. So if you be in touch with the mentors in the competition during this weekend, that would be helpful if you just ask them the questions, whatever question that you have, to be in touch with the departments that are helpful for the challenge that you already selected, and then see which departments can be beneficial for getting the data for the software that you are going to develop. Because I know that during this 1 day or 2 days, you need to develop some code and then try your code on based on some data. So if you see that some of the mentors are from these departments, or they have connection with the departments, maybe you can ask them to provide you with the data, or not also the data, the questions that they have in their projects, and what we can do with providing the better solutions to solve their questions, or the question that they are challenging in their project. So maybe that would be one beneficial for you to develop the work that you are presenting at the end of the competition.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mohzgan, for joining us this morning.
Sure.
She provided some great advice. So use your mentors, get the data that you need. And if you have any questions about the Conestoga Entrepreneurship Collective and the Venture Lab or the Commercialization Prize, Christian Snyder from Conestoga College is available via Slack over the course of the weekend. And Mohzgan is also on Slack, and you can reach out to her with any questions as well. So happy hacking. Have a great morning, everybody, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you.